honored with the presence of our guests from the Big Brothers Big Sisters again. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
Sure. So I'm Michelle Stink. I am the area director. So I cover Junction City, Manhattan, Wamego, Emporia, and then Marshall County, which is like Blue Rapids. So our area is expanded maybe a little bit since we were here last. And a lot of that is just with nonprofits. As you said, we're all fighting for funding. And when we don't have to have an actual physical office, that removes a really big expense. And so kind of figuring out how do you do more with less is the new way of our world. Um, and so, yeah, I've been in the area since 1995, have lived in Manhattan. I have two kiddos. My daughter is in grad school at K-State, and then my son is a senior at Manhattan High.
I'm Melissa Solden. I'm a development assistant, and I've been with the program for almost 2 years. I am a graduate of K-State, and that's what brought me to Manhattan in 2001. I just had that year where I've lived now in this area for more than half my life. I have two kids, a 8-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. And then my husband is the economic development director at the Manhattan Chamber. And Michelle and I are also proud big sisters of our organization. Michelle has been a big sister for 5 years, which I might be stealing some thunder from what she was going to talk about. And then I've been a big sister for a year. So we're excited to be here, and thank you for inviting us.
Yeah. So Big Brothers Big Sisters provides a one-to-one case managed mentoring program. What makes us different from a lot of other maybe mentoring programs is that case managed part of that. So we have 3 case managers. We call them match support specialists. And we do that because there are a lot of families in our program that might not feel comfortable putting their kids in our program if we call them a case manager. And so each of our case managers carries a load of about 50 to 65 cases every throughout the year. And they meet with, when we have a new match, they will meet with the big, the little, and the family individually once a month. And that's really to check in and make sure that everything is being safe, that we have ground rules, things like no overnights. There are certain activities we restrict, that there's not anything inappropriate happening. And we protect our bigs just as much as we protect our littles. So we're also looking to see like the family isn't taking advantage of the big, asking for extra visits like babysitting or asking for all of the children, if they have siblings, to go on an outing. So they're always looking for things like that. And then they're also looking to enhance those relationships. So every quarter we have a life skills guide, and we have different directions, like we have put together a whole entire program that our bigs can utilize to help their littles just maybe see some different things in life. So we have had everything from like health to mental health to time on the computer, internet safety, and I cannot think to right now which where thing is right now. I want to say that it's education, but it's setting goals. Thank you. I was like, as a big sister, okay. I did view it. And then we provide different levels of youth. So we serve kids from the age of kindergarten through actually the age of 25. But we know that when you're talking to a 5-year-old, it's going to be a lot different than when you're talking to a 15-year-old. So we try to provide information that can be useful for all of the ages that we serve. The average age of kid that we serve is probably more that 5 to 13 age. But we do still have kids enroll in that middle school to high school also. I would say that for us, our average, we have about 75% of our youth are little brothers. And that kind of comes from two reasons. Well, and the average little brother waits for up to 2 years before they get matched. Um, we have probably more single parents, single moms that enroll their kids in the program, their sons, because they just want a male role model. Sometimes it's just things like that to talk to about, hey, using deodorant or girls or whatever that looks like that maybe they need just a male role model in. How do you treat people? And then unfortunately we just have less males that enroll in our program as a big. So I would like to just currently you're all being recruited. You didn't know it, you're all being recruited to be big brothers. Um, we have different ways that you can be a big. We have a community based, which is where you go pick your little up from their home and you do stuff outside in the community. But then we have school based, which is where you go to your little school, usually over the lunch hour, and just spend about 30 minutes with them. And, that can be doing anything from helping them with reading, talking, playing a game. We really try to match our bigs and littles together with that have a common interest and because we really want to set them up for success. And if we have something that you already have common interest in, then you already have kind of that first stepping stone for your relationship. One of the things going back to our match support specialist, they do a lot more also than just keeping our matches safe. They also take care of the families as much as they can in providing them directions on services. And so my most recent story on that is that we had a mentor contact their match support specialist and say that they'd been gone to the school and their little hadn't been there in about a month. And so then that spurred the match support specialist to check in with the family. And then that's when we realized that they had become unhomed and they were living in their car. And when that happened, they also removed their child from school and then they were homeschooling them. And so we were then able to help connect them with Adopt a Family. Um, when the family that had done Adopt a Family for Christmas realized the reason that they were asking for some of the things they were asking for was because they were now living in a camper at the lake. They were able to purchase them like the really super thermal sleeping bags. But then they reached out to us and asked them if we could get them to them early before Christmas because they knew that it was going to start getting cold and they wanted to make sure that they had those ahead of time. So we don't just do the bigs and the littles and the matches, and that's a really great part of our program. But there is a second part of it that we envelop that is really also taking care of our families, taking care of our community. I'd love Melissa to tell a story, like tell just your story of being matched with Cambry and how that's all gone.
Yeah. So I am matched with a young lady who is now a first grader, and we got matched when she was a kindergartner, and she comes from a single parent home where her mom had kids when she was young. And so these young ladies, my little and then her big sister are both matched. And I think one of the things that has been the most for myself even is that she makes a difference to me, probably even more so than I make a difference to her. It's during the time that we hang out, like my phone is put away, it's total investment into her and what her outcomes are doing. And so it's been really special to see how that interaction goes then when I switch on when I'm a mom and investing into my own kids. And so it's little things like that, that being part of this program has been very rewarding because not only like spending time with my little reading, like just yesterday I went to her school. It's fun. She's built an even more connection with the librarian because we'll go do lunch, and then we'll go up, and typically in the library we'll pick out a book to read. And then she's been really enjoying, there's games in the library where we'll either do math or spelling of putting the things together. And during the classroom day, I think she does get some of that support, but it's not one to one. And then when she goes home at night, there's times where her mom does a really, really great job of really trying to provide for these young ladies, but it is a lot of times her fourth grade sister watching her. And so they're at the subject of either entertaining each other or they're on iPads or screen time. And so that time that we're spending together, like matching those words and things, it's been really fun because I do challenge her when we're selecting books that at least through the first 5 pages, she has to identify words, and then I'll help read the rest of the story. And so those are some of the things that we do as bigs that impact our little, but then also getting the impact back to us that has been just even more. And yesterday, this is one of my favorite things. We were reading this book. Oh, well, it was about this. It was a unicorn saurus. And so the unicorn looked different than all of the other. Like they went to a school where there was either dinosaurs or unicorns, and so the character was different. And so I was asking her about who her best friend was, and she said, "Well, you're my best friend." Thanks. I'll be a unicorn source with you. So those are the moments that, and to be somebody's best friend is the best. So that is a little in depth about what it is to actually be a big too. And so I think one of the things that Michelle and I, one of our favorite parts is getting to share stories like this with community members. We in the last 5 years have seen our length of match go from around 13 months up to right under 3 years. And so that in itself has been fantastic because we have less turnover with, because when a kid is interested in the program, they, I think, hope for the longevity at least through their teen years. And so to have that length of time be extended, and a lot of that is from the work certainly that Michelle has done of continuing to get our name of Big Brothers Big Sisters, what exactly we do. It's so rewarding to hear stories of community members that have signed up to be bigs that either used to be a big in college, oh, I used to do that in college, or in their community, maybe they had something similar where they did it in high school. So reinvigorating some of that they had already done, or even hearing stories of people that might have been a little that now are in a scenario where they're able to give back as a big and use that firsthand experience. So again, thank you for allowing us to come today, and thank you for your support here.
Yeah, here in Junction City, one of the things we have had some success with over the last few years is a program called Bigs in Blue. And what that is, it's a partnership with the Geary County Sheriff's Department. And they have been working to recruit their officers to be in the school-based program. So they don't have contact with that little's family. They just see their little at school. But the thing I think is really important and great about that, Justin Stopper is the one, he had done a golf tournament a few years ago and was really interested in the program and has kind of been the driving force for that. And he had, totally lost my train of thought on that. We thought it was, really important that we have students that are seeing an officer doing good things in the school. Because a lot of times those kids might be seeing officers at home and they might view it as because they could have interactions with their families and have negative views of that. And so how do we put an officer into a school setting where they're just being viewed as a friend? It's not being viewed as something that is a confrontational. And so I think that that's really important that we have that and the kids are seeing that to help form those views of what our officers are doing. So
Are they uniformed when they go in?
They have the option. They don't have to be, but I think it's great when they are. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the sheriff has been really supportive of that. Like if you need to do that when you're on shift, take your 30 minutes to go do that, then, they've been really supportive of helping that be an important part of their program.
I think between that school resource officer program that the school district's invested in has been a very positive influence on, as you look at the national challenges with interactions of youth and law enforcement. I noticed a big difference. Officer or retired Officer Witten's one of our members. He's not here today, but was a big part of that. That's those interactions are priceless.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. One of the other things that we do is we really focus on the outcomes of what our kids are experiencing. So we have surveys that our families complete and our bigs complete throughout their time. So usually about once a year, they'll do a survey. And then even after they're out of our program, we continue to survey the family if they'll allow us to. And if we can stay in contact, because we want to know how is that little doing in school? What did they do after they graduated? Because really our goal in this program is how do we strengthen communities by helping our kids be good community members. And so we know that the kids that participate in our program tend to vote in elections, have a living wage job, often go on to a technical college or some kind of secondary education after high school. And so that's really important that they're, going on and seeing that, and that we're monitoring that to know what our outcomes are versus just having a program and then being like, hope everybody's doing good. and so that's one thing that Kansas Big Brothers Big Sisters has been doing now for about 15 years. So
How do you manage to stay in touch with them after they graduate high school?
So now I think it's a lot easier with cell phones because a lot of times now we'll have cell phone numbers. But one of the challenges we have is that a lot of our families in our program, if they can't pay their phone bill, their phone gets shut off. And then if they're using track phones, they get a new number. So sometimes that's harder. But we did have a 10-year span where if you were going to sign up in our program, we required people to participate in that survey. And they really got some good results out of that solid 10 years. And then we continued that on for as much as we can. It is really amazing though. A lot of the kids in our program want to tell us how they're doing. They often have really good relationships with their caseworker. And they're proud to be in our program. Like it amazes me. My little sister is, 10 years old and she like loves being in the parade. She loves wearing her Big Brothers Big Sisters shirt. Like she loves that she's in our program. And when I go into the school, she'll say like, this is my big sister. And it's not embarrassing to her, like that she feels like, oh, I had to be in this program or that there was something, that we were lacking. She really looks at it that it's just a really great benefit to her. Yeah, we're happy to answer any questions.
What's the youngest age a person can be a brother or a sister?
So to be a little in our program, 5 is the youngest. To be a big in our,
Talking about the adult.
yep, to be a big in our program is 18.
16?
18. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. We did at one point used to have where we had high school bigs. But what we really realized is a lot of the kids that were in our program, they needed more mentoring than what a high school youth was really able to provide them. And so to be able to have an outcome where you're doing things like voting in elections, going to college and having a living wage job, that playing basketball with your big over, after school wasn't really getting those outcomes. So that's where Kansas Big Brothers Big Sisters has really stayed on that path of like outcomes and mentorship.
What are some of the common activities there on the prohibited list, like that you can't do with the kids? Some of the common stuff.
Yeah, so like one of them is, well, and it's not always that you can't do, it's that we require a safety thing to be signed. Like I took my little sister to Worlds of Fun and I had to get a safety thing signed, which I was so glad that I did because that was like the same time frame that that little kid, her on the big roller coaster, her buckle came undone. So I was really glad that I had that signed and glad that we didn't go on that roller coaster. Um, but like things like shooting a gun, we require that. I think kayaking, we require the safety form. And I think the trampoline park, we also require just anything where a kid could get hurt. And what that safety form is that the parent is signing that, saying that like, hey, I know that you're taking my kid to something that could be dangerous.
Do you have the contact information other than the kansasbigs.org?
That's our best website. And then I think I have my business card.
Great,
Yeah.
I'll get that from
Yeah.
How often do they meet the two
Oh, yeah.
kids other than the school? Just
Yeah, in school they meet once a week, but out of school we ask that you meet twice a month. Yep, and that can be anywhere for, I mean, 2 to 4 hours. My little sister lives in Manhattan, but I live in St. George. And so usually when I pick her up to do stuff at my house, I pick her up like at 11 and then I bring her home after dinner. And then I feed her lunch and then feed her dinner. And then I pack up all of our leftovers and send them home to her family. You don't have to do that. That's just what I do.
Praise
Yeah.
the Lord.
Together.
Yeah, we make cookies.
When you guys get together, I know you all have kids, stuff like this, but I mean, do kids also interact with each other too, or is it just solely just on?
That's a great question. So it is a one-to-one mentorship, but that does not mean that you can't hang out with your kids too. So what we do ask in those situations is that you spend a little extra time. So maybe when you're picking your little up and driving them home, that you spend a little extra time in the car, just like in a one-on-one situation. But that doesn't mean that you can't all go do something together as a family. Yeah. I think it's really great because then I think that what that little sees is they see a different way that that family interacts. And so that could be different than what they have at home.
My son looks forward to Camry coming over. He's like, when's Camry coming over again?
Well, we have a check to present you guys, and Dr. Miller is our professional photographer. Who orchestrates all that. I'll give you the physical check.
Make sure that our hair looks good and that I look skinny if we can make that happen.
Only one of us can hide behind this big check.
So, Shell and Melissa, let's put you over here, please. I one of you around the side and Mon on the other side. We try to get it safe to friends of you.
We need to go down.
There you go.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Whole room on JJ
I know.
Callis here.
All right, I will crop out the trash cans.
Okay.
Let me move it. Now we're good. We'll do it digitally. One more. Got it. Thank you.
Okay.